Hey guys, how you doing tonight? See, we got a few people here in the room, so I figure, hey Jesse, I figure we'll just wait another minute or two, let everybody get in, and I'll kind of give you guys an update. Hey Edward, hey Chris, hey Crystal, hey Annan, and I'm sure Todd appreciates that, Annan. All of you guys, all that support you guys have put out for Todd the last few weeks, talking to him and letting him know you're thinking about him. All right, so Money Mike is here. Yeah, they actually, I got the phone call about maybe 30 minutes before I threw up the little promo, guys, to let you know we'll be doing the video today. Copia. Paul. I'm assuming that's Paul. Hey, Paul. El Gordo, what's going on, bud? All right, so what do we got here? All right, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super long video. I know a lot of you have been waiting. I told you guys that once I got the news that I would share it with you guys. And like I said, I'm definitely really not in the mood right now, guys. So we're going to try to make this sweet and short. And I can't really think of how to explain this to you guys. So I think probably the best way that I could explain this in a way that you guys will be able to understand and not waste any time is, why don't we let Todd explain it himself? Take it away, Todd.
I am back. Today I was allowed to self-surrender. My ultimate sentence is 97 months. Just a tad over 8 years. Considering that I was originally at first looking at 30 years, and then with the plea agreement down to 17 and a half, I cannot tell you how good my sentencing hearing went. All of my co-defendants got absolutely crucified. Everything that we knew about the judge and his reputation for being an extremely draconian sentencer, and it all played out. It played out in spades for my co-defendants. There was absolutely no mercy given whatsoever. I was terrified going into sentencing. I had spent 4 hours in the federal courthouse in one of the witness rooms preparing with one of my attorneys, while one of the other attorneys was in watching the sentencing of my co-defendants. And they kept on coming in and just telling me how bad it was going, how much my name was being mentioned and everything, and just the absolute worst possible sentences that the co-defendants were given. I expected to literally walk in there, and my attorneys were already prepping me for more than the 17 and a half, that I was going to get an upward departure and all sorts of variances. They said, it could easily be 20 years. Ultimately, it is dependent upon the judge. The sentencing hearing itself lasted for probably almost 2.5 hours. It was brutal, extremely brutal. The judge was all over me. I mean, really, really got far up my ass, really went into the heart of the crime and just literally flayed me alive. And what saved me, and keep in mind, my co-defendants are just absolutely getting wrecked. Everyone's basically getting what the prosecutors recommended, or in some cases, actually even more. everybody is, getting remanded to custody. Just an absolute horrible situation for all of these people. When it came time for my sentence, what it really came down to was all of the volunteering, the community service, just this massive, overwhelming action that I've taken since I've been on pretrial. Um, Everything that we had spoken about in the room, and I know that I've spoken to a lot of you others about in terms of, write your pretrial officer, build yourself a mentoring network, find people online, university professors, criminologists, probation officers, get them to mentor you along in terms of the process and everything. And then, 1,452 volunteer hours in the last year and a half. The judge, even the prosecutors, were amazed that I could that I could accomplish so much in so little time. And it bought me so much credibility. It by no means made up for my crime, but from that moment on, everyone viewed me in such a much different light because they had already seen that I had taken this overwhelming action in order to self-correct the behavior. It was just, I can't even explain what I'm feeling right now. I wish I could bottle it. It literally, at 8 years, even though it sounds horrible to, I'm sure, most of you, keep in mind, I was originally looking at 30. Then with a plea agreement, I'm looking at 17 and a half. I'm definitely looking at getting remanded to custody. It was an absolute nightmare to walk out of there with 8 years, which, by the way, is like 5 years less than even my defense attorneys were going for like 12 or 13. I walked out of there. They said in 40 years, they've never seen a judge, offer less of a sentence than even what the defense attorneys asked for. I cut a huge break, and I really believe that that was due to all of this work that I had put in on pretrial and trying to make myself better. I had absolutely supreme documentation, third-party references, everything that I did, checked, double checked, so that they could, so that they couldn't go back and say, oh, this is Todd telling us, this poor son of a bitch, we already know he's a liar and he obstructed justice. We can't trust a word he said. I knew I was going to go into it, having to face that and own up to my previous actions. So I made sure everything was third party documented and everything, and it went better than even my wildest dreams could have hoped. 8 years for me is like, that's hitting a home run all day long. That's, I hate to say it, but that's kind of all I got.
Well, I got to tell you, all day today, and I told you, Todd, all day today, I've been pacing the house. I went to the office, packing up the office because, no longer need that. And all day I'm in between all my thoughts. I knew your sentencing was at 1:30 Eastern, or 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm checking the Palm Beach Post. I'm checking WPTV News. I'm looking for something that is talking about man sentenced to 17 years. And literally like, God, this is driving me crazy. I'm texting his wife, not getting a response. And then I see my phone ring and I'm just assuming it's Todd's wife. And I heard Todd on the other line, and he says it in his voice, 8 years. And I'm thinking, this is Todd's wife. And she sounds just like him, because I never spoke to her before. I was completely in shock. And I know we all had spoken about it. We were all on the same page going, between praying and as much effort and focus that Todd's put into this, there was a small part of me that said, you know what, maybe something good will happen for Todd. And we were all hoping so. But Todd took a complete, potentially horrible experience and what should have happened into something that on an 8-year sentence, if all goes well between RDAP and halfway house, he'll do a little bit less than 5 years in a perfect scenario. So that's really the goal here, guys. And from the moment that I spoke to Todd initially, not today, but when I first spoke with him, it was just day after day, just saying, man, you have to go do what you have to do. Get into volunteering, get into getting rid of the expensive car, get into making the trek down the path of asking for forgiveness through action. And I don't know if you touched on it, Todd. Maybe you want to touch on it a little bit, but you said when you first started doing this, it felt like the only reason you were doing it was to potentially try to get a reduced sentence. And it turned into so much more than that. And the reduced sentence seems to be the byproduct. So elaborate just a little bit on that, because I know right now you've got all kinds of emotions and you can't wait to get home to your wife. But touch base on that a little bit, Todd.
You know, I'll be the first to admit it, Dan. I went into and I started a lot of these things for all the wrong reasons in terms of the volunteering, the community service, even the weekly emails to the mentor network and to the probation and pretrial and everything. I was still in that mindset of, manipulation, trying to influence the system. It was my go-to. It's what I've always done in life. If I can't buy myself out of a problem, I try to manipulate, I try to influence the situation. The same things that turn me into the shit bag, but now the recovering shit bag. So I did all these things originally in order to, look good. I figure, oh my God, I'm looking at such a lengthy sentence. If I do all this stuff, maybe it's going to get me a year or two off. And a year or two off on a 17 and a half year sentence is, that would be amazing. Every day that you don't have to spend in prison is a win. So I started out doing all these things for the wrong reason. And then somehow along the last year and a half, it's turned into the right reason. I get enjoyment out of my community service, my volunteering and everything. I derive a lot of pleasure from it. I started out, doing it for the wrong reasons, but somewhere along the way, they turned into the right reasons. Now it gives me peace and solace. It makes me feel like I'm making up, like I'm trying to do everything that I can to atone for my crime. So it's really helped me mentally. And then also, as I spoke before when I was on, you see what some of the families go through, in the chat room and reading some of those very, heartfelt yet disturbing messages. It allowed me to see more of, not only did I create victims of the insurance companies, their shareholders, doctors, physicians, the nurses. It was more, I created victims all around me in terms of my wife, my family, my friends, everyone that I deprived of something because of the crime that I committed. So, yeah, I started it for the wrong reasons, but somewhere along the line, they changed to the right reasons. And it does, it gives me a lot of peace. And my God, after what just happened to me today, you know, I can't tell you enough. I literally was going to think, I was thinking, my God, if there's some way that I can get 15 years out of this, I'll feel like a god. I'll feel like I, just got this huge win and everything. My attorneys were asking for 12 or 13 years. It's just massive and overwhelming volunteer activity that, every day I'm just going to try to be just a tiny bit better, just 1%. And it was just doing it day after day after day. And then somewhere along the line, it ended up just becoming a habit. That, I really do believe that saved me.
Did we lose audio on you, Todd?
No. No, I
Oh,
shut
there
up
he
for a
goes.
minute.
Oh, okay. I think we hear. So, guys, I clearly, I know 8 years may sound like a chunk of change for a lot of you that are obviously looking at a lot less. But remember, Todd was looking at potentially 30 years, then 17 and a half. His attorneys were trying to get him around 12. And the judge came down all the way down to 8 on his own. There wasn't being asked. It was strictly due to the preparation that Todd made. And, you know,
Not
I don't want to sit here.
the preparation that I made, Dan, but definitely take credit where credit is due. You've held me accountable for all of my actions. You've been on me to do everything. Some of the times when I was weak and I was about to make bad decisions, you really turned me around. And honestly, without your character reference letters and stuff like that, how they fit into my narrative and my allocution and everything, I would have, I would have been in a much lesser position. And not only that, forget about the 8 years and just the massive windfall that I just got. You, I really feel that by working with you, the videos, talking to people in the chat room, I'm a better man. No matter what happens now, not only am I going to get through this, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to go on with my life. I'm going to be a much better man. I you know, I just have, this overwhelming gratitude for what you've been able to do to me. Not only with just, once again, that massive windfall of the sentence, but just the fact that, the daily talking back and forth, the chats, the texts, and everything, it's made me think about my actions much more. It's made me treat all of the people around me, with the care and attention that they deserve, not what I was giving them before, unfortunately. You know, this is due to a large part, for you. I mean, I really cannot thank you enough, Dan.
Well, I definitely appreciate it, Todd. And, and the one thing that I try to do a little bit different than everybody else is we all know that any prison consultant can help you out with some letters. They can tell you a couple of things to say. And I think you even told me, Todd, that all of your other co-conspirators also had prison consultants. And
Yes.
the main difference, guys, is what I really try to focus on is I'm not just gonna, give you some form letters, and it's more about really getting you to change your thinking and your attitude, because that is really what is it's not just one thing. It's not just going to be the letters. It's not just going to be saying the right thing to the judge. It's complete preparation and action-based things that you're doing from the minute that you can start doing them. That's why I say the earlier, the better, because all of this stuff, it feels like it's not doing anything in the moment because so many of us are just accustomed to immediate gratification. But that long-term effect of what Todd did stood out. He's the only person in his conspiracy that didn't get remanded. He was the only person in his conspiracy that didn't have a 5K1. And you would think that those would be the people that would get the extra bonuses and the extra gifts and the extra time off. This judge saw how much effort that Todd put into his own situation and tried to not just make it seem like he was making a difference. This man put every waking moment into an action-based plan, from writing his daily his daily progress down and sending it to his different mentors and tracking all of this stuff and getting it signed off on. When you present something like that to a judge, when you have the judge tell you he's never seen this before, when you have the prosecutor say they've never seen this before, and you guys have heard several of my clients make these statements, it's because everybody else is doing the exact same Mickey Mouse cookie cutter project. And if we can be a little bit different and be sincere with what we're trying to do, guys, together we can make a lot of mountains move. So you just have to be willing to not just, I can't help you more than you're willing to help yourself. I presented Todd with some, what I thought were good ideas. I presented Todd with some ideas that he can do. Todd took that and ran with that ball. So as much as I want to sit here and take all of the credit for Todd getting this awesome sentence, the only credit I get was putting some seeds into Todd's brain. Todd was the one that allowed those to manifest and push forward. And it made it for an easy client, to be honest, guys, because my relationship with Todd is a very easy one, because Todd realizes right away what he needs to do to move forward and progress. The big thing is now what we want to see Todd do is not slow down. We want to see you keep doing what you're doing. We want to see you keep going and doing the charitable work. Because if you've really truly changed into this person that you're telling us you have, these are now going to become habits, and this is going to carry through your entire process through prison, because your battle's not over yet. You still got RDAP, you still got additional halfway house time. So if you keep putting in the effort you're putting in right now, when it comes time to ask for these additional things, it should be a no-brainer, just like it was for a judge that doesn't typically give sentences like this. So you've already proven everybody else wrong. Don't stop here. Keep it moving.
I definitely will, Dan. I'm going to take all those hard-won lessons. I'm going to bring them into prison with me. And I know I'm coming out a better man.
Man, I really, really am so happy that I'm not sitting on this YouTube channel by myself tonight telling you guys that Todd just got hammered with a 17-year sentence, sitting in Gun Club's county jail, getting ready to go to a medium. I mean, so much has just changed in the last couple hours. He's not remanded. He's out on pretrial. He gets to surrender sometime. He'll tell you in a minute, but it's sometime in May. He's probably going to go to a camp now instead of a medium. So he completely probably skipped over a low altogether. I mean, Todd's world has just completely changed. So it's still so hard for so many people to grasp 8 years, but it's all relative to our own situation. And Todd's situation was he was never going to see his mother again. The possibility of her passing away while he was in prison was likely. He was going to be sitting in a shitty medium where there was lockdowns and less movement to, dude, the guy just completely, I mean, the only thing that could have been any better is obviously case dismissed. That's the only thing, but it probably would not have felt any better than it feels right now, because this is the complete opposite of what Todd's expectations were. Even though he was hoping for this, as we all were, I don't think any of us were thinking he was going to get 8 years. I was thinking if he got 10 years, that would have been a great gift. So guys, for those of you that don't understand, this is a victory, and this is almost as good as it gets. If you look at that smile on this guy's face, he looks like he dropped 10 years off of his life, you know, and he gets to go home to his wife, hug her, his dog. I mean, all of these things that he thought he was going to be done with for the next 15 years, or he's got another 30 plus days, and then he's got a little short bid to go do. He'll be out in less than 5. So fucking A for Todd. Cheers. Look at that smile. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I really, you know, we're going to have plenty of conversation with Todd now. Obviously, he'll be hanging out in the chat rooms. Hopefully, he hasn't moved on from it. He's super excited, guys. I know it was very hard for me to keep this from you all, and it was hard to keep a straight face making that video, but I really wanted you all to like feel the impact the way I felt it. And if I would have told you in a text message, it would have felt good. But I think you guys really got that smack in the face when Todd jumped on. So those of you that jumped on late and Todd was already on, I tried to wait as long as I could. But, man, I was so hard trying to bite my tongue to not get the shit-eating grin on my face. So it's going to be a great night. I've never even met Todd, and me and Shelly are going to go out and celebrate Todd's victory. I didn't even celebrate my own victory. So this is awesome. If you guys have any questions, I know, Brian, you thought I was going to say you got 20 years. That's my acting skills, guys. I got you all, suckers. So, yeah, guys, if you have any questions for Todd or any questions for me or any questions about RDAP, we will be on here Saturday. I'll be on Saturday. Todd's welcome to always, you know, guest come on and help out whenever he wants.
I get so much support from the room. I'll definitely be on Saturday.
You'll be on Saturday. It's amazing, guys. So if you have any questions, somebody in here asked me a question about RDAP, and I forgot who it was. I missed the name. It was a young lady who's getting sentenced to 30-something months. If you shoot me an email, here's my email, rdapdan gmail.com. If you shoot me an email, I will gladly respond. You can also text me to 509-434-4695. And guys, remember, my services isn't just for the rich and famous. My services are also for the people that are struggling to make ends meet. Here is my assistance link. If you click on this link, fill it out. If I can get you qualified for reduced pricing, full services, nothing changes on the services, I will, but you got to fill it out. Guys, Dan the man with the plan. There we go, Javier. Love you, brother. You guys have an amazing night. I will see you Saturday. Todd, stay out of trouble. I know it feels good right now. You should be sitting in gun club somewhere in a shitty cell, but you're in a nice hotel. Go have a nice night. You enjoy it, man. You definitely deserve it. All of you guys are awesome. I will see you guys Saturday. If you need anything, call, text, email, subscribe, love the channel, share this information, and you guys rock. We had 27 people watching tonight, so we hit an all-new record. So let's keep this community growing. Community's method. I'm RDAP Dan. Peace.